This is the Wally and Methot Show. Now, here are your hosts, Brent Wallace and Mark Methot.
Welcome to the show, everybody. I'm Brent Wallace. He's former NHL defenseman Mark Methot, also known as a caveman by the way he cooks his food. But, Meth, we got to get going. It's a busy show today, so we'll get cooking right now. And that is on our show, we have former Ottawa Senator, one of your teammates, and now current member of the Boston Bruins, Curtis Lazar. Of course, he was involved in the Taylor Hall deal that sent him from Buffalo to Boston. We'll ask him about that. We'll ask him about the hamburger incident, obviously. And Meth, I got a trivia question for you right off the top, and that is, Curtis Lazar scored 12 goals as a member of the Ottawa Senators. How many did you assist on? If you get it right, I'll try to get you a Gong Show sauce-off game, okay?
Okay. I mean, I barely had any points, right? So I'm gonna have to guess like 2, maybe 3. If this is some random stat that you pulled, there must be a reason for it.
I was bored. 1. That is you grand total of 1 goal. But there is one interesting note that is useless beyond belief. However, that is you and Curtis Lazar each scored a goal against the Montreal Canadiens. It was March 19th, I believe. It became the final goals that you two scored as members of the Ottawa Senators. It was scored in this game, scored in the same game. So random useless fact that you can always use for the rest of your life. I just don't know where you'll do that. We'll get to Curtis Lazar in a sec. Also in the show today, we have 2 of the best young prospects in the world are going to be on our show, and 2 local boys. That is Mason McTavish and Brandt Clarke. They're currently playing at the under-18s for Team Canada down in Texas. They are going into the medal round, and those 2 have been money. Now they're expected to be top 10 picks in the upcoming draft. We will talk to them as well. But first, Meth, we got to get right to it. Busy show. So let's get to the headlines. Number 1, lump of coal. Cole Caulfield scores his first NHL goal. It's in overtime, and it does in the Ottawa Senators on Saturday night. On the defense, the Ottawa Senators, with the last 7 games, have the 3rd best goals against in the league. I want you to tell me why. Miller High Life, Ryan Miller, the winningest American-born goaltender of all time, plays his final game in the NHL. And poster boy, Meth, graces the cover of Faces magazine. Clearly, you photoshopped me out, but I'm not upset about that. It's okay. And you are dead meat. I seems to have gotten a lot of reaction over the way I like to enjoy my food. So we'll get to that as well. But first, let's start lump of coal. The Ottawa Senators start to unravel. They're outscored in the final 20 minutes plus overtime, 21-3. They see Cole Caulfield score his first NHL goal. It's in overtime. The Sens officially now eliminated from the postseason, and that was no big surprise to anybody. However, I just want to know your takeaway. Could you see it unraveling once things started in the 3rd period here?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know that I predicted it because they were playing so well in those first 2 periods. And I think with a young team, people need to remember they're not going to be consistent every game. They're going to have little lapses in judgment and decision-making at times. There's still a lot of growth that needs to happen with this group. So, I mean, do I put a lot of weight into that loss or collapse in the end? No, not really. It's okay. And I think, if anything, these are great learning experiences for a lot of these young players. I know when I came into the league, that was always the case. It's like, you know what? This isn't necessarily our year to win the Stanley Cup, so at least you can learn a little bit. So this is kind of that scenario for the team. And again, you can't get too excited about it. I don't want to keep repeating myself. My only takeaway from that is I think it's a good opportunity for the players to step back, watch some video, and see where they went wrong.
Well, one of those things that's getting a lot of attention is Brady Tkachuk's extended overtime shift, and that is why not get off. So if you're a teammate and you see that, you're completely gassed and it's extended, what are you saying to him?
Well, I know from my vantage point, I was trying to hide somewhere on the bench away from getting called out there. I know the one shift under Guy Boucher I had on the PP, I believe we won the draw and I dumped the puck, which you never do in overtime. And then I chased it myself and I didn't know what to do with it. So I'm not necessarily in a position to critique guys when it comes to what they should be doing on the ice. But yes, when you're out there for over 2 minutes, your legs turn to jello, and it's not necessarily the most responsible thing to do as a player. But we all love Brady. We got to cut him a little slack. Again, great opportunity to learn from it. Maybe next time now when a game is actually on the line and there's a little more weight to the game itself, he'll know better and he may come off the ice earlier. And again, he's been a horse for this team. It's not a slight against him. I think if anything, coming with that growth and experience that comes with losses like this, he'll know better next time there's an OT and he'll adjust.
One of the things the Sens did do well, at least for Josh Norris, and that is he stood up for himself. I know you're not a big fan of the retribution type big hit, got to make a fight afterwards. But for him, he got hit after the whistle. He got crunched into the boards by Romanov. And so good on him. At least I think, for coming back.
He looked, he looked great. I mean, right, Wally? Like he stood up well for himself. And I don't think anybody, Romanov, first of all, it didn't look like he knew what he was doing either. And I know he's notorious for those big open ice hits. And I love that Norris just kind of called him out on it and called his bluff and dropped the gloves, and he handled himself very well. Got the takedown. I believe he kind of landed a few shots too. It took a while for Romanov's gloves to come off. But again, I guess I hate saying this again, this is the theme today, another learning experience for both players. But again, I think just more specifically with Norris, very happy to see that. Just shows that he's standing up for himself, and we know he's a machine off the ice. So he's very strong and he's very capable. Yeah. So nice to see. I don't want it to become a habit for him, but stick taps to Josh Norris. That was great.
A little bit of Mike Fisher in him that way, where it's a little deceivingly how strong he is, but when you find out in a fight really quick, just exactly what he can do. So good on Josh Norris. Let's quickly move to the defense, and that is this team in the last 7 games, I think since April 14th, somewhere in there, has the 3rd best goals against average in the league. And nobody on this earth would have said that's possible after the way this team started. I understand the personnel is a little different, obviously. Is that the biggest takeaway, or is there something else that's happening here with their blue line?
Yeah, the personnel is part of it for sure. And I say that because I think they were always lacking perhaps a little more puck moving back there. And now that you got Brandstrom in the lineup, who at times still looks a little iffy, maybe in his own end, but he moves the puck very well. And Mete's moving the puck really well. You got a lot more mobility back there. I mean, that makes the world of difference. And not only that, but the players are listening to the coaching staff. I think the coaching staff do deserve a lot of credit in kind of sorting out the mess that they had in their own end. And it was almost kind of a circus as far as moving parts all over the place. No one was really following their proper assignments. And now it seems like they're just coming together on their breakouts as a group, as a 5-man unit. And it just makes life so much easier. All those little 5 to 10 foot passes that they're getting, and they're just getting themselves out of trouble. They're all supporting each other properly. Those are all little things that really play a huge part in your game. And it's puck possession. You have the puck on your stick that much more, you're a lot less likely to give up all these opportunities again. So, and of course, maybe a little bit more solid between the pipes too. You're getting a little more consistency in goal as well. So it's a recipe. All these different things and ingredients are contributing to it.
Speaking of in goal, that is Ryan Miller played his 795th game, and it's his final one in the NHL, 18-year career. What are your thoughts on playing against Ryan Miller? I'm not sure. I don't think he gets maybe the attention he deserves. He's the winningest U.S.-born goalie, and I know he was the MVP of 2010, but he seems to always kind of maybe fly under the radar, except when you played in Buffalo and the Ottawa Senators were in town. He used to just seem to win every game. What are your? I guess when you hear Ryan Miller's name, what comes to mind?
I mean, before I even get into that, to me, the fact that he's played as long as he has as a goaltender in the National Hockey League is incredible. Whenever I see a player maintain that kind of longevity as an NHL hockey player, it's just so impressive to me. And it's almost kind of like Marleau as far as his Ironman streak goes and the amount of games he's played. If you're a goaltender and you've played that much hockey, I can only imagine how taxing it is on your body. And I brought this up in the past where we all saw the Anisimov video where he's playing goalie in the dressing room with the Sens there, and he put on the gear, and you could see him struggle just to get up off his feet. He almost grunted at like the pain he felt in perhaps his groin or his knees. So imagine doing that on a daily basis for that many seasons. So again, very incredible. And he's been a very consistent goalie for the most of his career. Used to seem incredible goaltender with the Buffalo Sabres as well. That long stretch he had there was very impressive. He's got a lot of great accolades, under his belt. I could Google all these crazy stats and things he's done numbers wise, but to me, the biggest takeaway is he's been in the league for a long time. He's seen a lot of success. I'm very happy for him in his career that he's had. So congratulations to Ryan Miller.
Well, I did Google some stats, and this is what I came up with. Your final NHL goal was scored on Ryan Miller.
Really?
When you played in Dallas.
With Dallas. Yeah, that would have been in Anaheim. Yeah. See, good for you, Wally, doing all that digging. I had no idea. And you know what? Now that I'm thinking back here, it's a nice goal. I think I went short side shelf from the slot, right? So
stepped right into it. Yep.
Yeah. I mean, once in a while, old meth dog has a shot in him, and I decided to take it out on Ryan Miller. So my apologies.
Now, the one thing, and I was going to make a whole big deal about this later at some other show, but you don't celebrate when you score. Like, you just got this little fist bump. I'm like, why isn't the arms in the air? Where's the, like, riding the stick through center ice? Where is
Well,
that?
it looks awkward. Okay, that's fair. But if you look back at my old goals with the Blue Jackets, where I tend to score a little more in the past, I had a little bit more enthusiasm when I would score. But I think as you get a little older, the novelty kind of wears off a little bit. I'm sure some goal scorers out there would argue that point with me. But I think I would make a conscientious effort to just look kind of cool about it. Like it was a normal, often occurrence for me in my game. And it wasn't. So it is what it is. But again, I can't think of a better feeling than scoring a goal in the NHL. It is truly a very unique feeling. And it's a shame I never could do it more often. But when I did, despite my demeanor on the ice in the moment, like you just described, I was very happy inside and I was ecstatic on the bench.
Well, I mean, I can't imagine what it's like to score a goal in the NHL. And they say it's one of the hardest things to do, obviously, if you're a player. So good on you for scoring. And I thought that was kind of a neat note just to think that, your last one's on.
Are we going to run it? Are we running a clip then? Are we allowed to run a clip so the viewers can watch it?
No. So we'll just, video of the mind. You're just going to picture this in your head. Okay. Jamie Benn, I think, assists on this goal. Yeah, you just step into it and blow it by him. And there's no one around you within 20 feet. So you had a clear shot at the net.
Yeah.
Okay. Next up, Poster Boy. So I just want to bring up this, the latest Faces magazine. You are just raw. What a beautiful man, eh?
Wally. Now let's not get this twisted. You have some pictures in the magazine as well, and you're included. You weren't on the cover. I apologize for that. They went with the better looking individual.
I mean, while it's hurtful, I completely appreciate it, and it's very valid. But yeah, you can get a copy of listening to take a read about Meth and what he's gone through from off the ice and on it to joining this little podcast. It's a great story. So I just wanted to point it out. Cool. And I spent $35 in printer ink just to get this printed off for today.
Oh, you printed that?
Yeah.
Very nice. Very nice. Yeah, well, I appreciate it. And it's a good article. I encourage everyone to check it out on Faces magazine. It's really cool.
Don't be surprised if you see that picture hanging behind Meth in the next episode. Okay, finally, that is You Are Dead Meat. It seems that I've caused a bit of an issue with the way I like to have my steak done. Now, I don't quite get it, but I do want to say I appreciate all the support I'm getting, including from my good friend Carlo Koliakovo. The people that really understand how to eat proper meat have started to weigh in and support me.
Yeah, I mean, I think, and I'm sure Craig can chime in on this later when he comes in. This is just embarrassing. I've said what I've said, and it's like, it's just, there's no coming back from it, Wally. I know you think, and maybe still in your mind, you think this is normal, but you don't cook a steak all the way through the way you did. It's embarrassing. I don't know. And the worst part, I think, in all of this is, and we haven't stated this enough, is that you're buying filet mignons, like beef tenderloins, nice cuts of meat, and you are nuking them. You might as well microwave it. So I don't know what to say. I mean, I could think of some funny shit to say to you right now, but you know what? At the end of the day, you need to figure things out, because I mean, it's something I would expect from my 3-year-old son. You know what I mean? Maybe he would like his steak cooked all the way through, but you're an adult.
But listen, in honor of all of the people that supported me, I burnt my toast this morning. Okay.
What do you mean? No one's supporting you. Wait, who's supporting you? No one's supporting you. I was reading the mentions on Twitter and going through some of the comments. It was funny. Everybody was all over you, and nothing was positive on your behalf.
No, that Carlo Koliakovo came to my defense, and he's one of the best defensemen ever. He's much better than you ever were.
Carlo, I love Carlo. He's hilarious. Again, though, I'm shocked that he kind of came to your defense as a one person, and that guy just eats Italian foods. He's always posting charcuterie boards and stuff. So I'll take that opinion with a grain of salt. It's all good.
Well, just so you know, I have now decided I am going to take back the barbecue. It is mine, and my wife just yelled at me. I thought she'd gone out. But anyway, so maybe I'm not getting the barbecue. We will just move on, shall we, for today?
Sure.
Those are the headlines. Coming up after the break, we have got Curtis Lazar, the newest member of the Boston Bruins. And, of course, later in the show, Mason McTavish and Brandt Clarke, who are starring down south, playing for the Team Canada at the under-18s. Don't go anywhere. You're watching the Wally and Methot Show. Okay, welcome back to the show, everybody. Pleased to be joined now by Curtis Lazar, former Ottawa Senator. Great to be with you. And of course, things are going well in Boston, recently dealt during the deadline. Let's start there and your reaction. Did you see this trade coming at all with you and Taylor Hall going to the Bruins?
I mean, everyone knew Halsey was going somewhere, but I had no thought or anything of that, I was going to be thrown in the deal, anything like that. I was nursing an injury, just had a baby a couple days ago. So I'm like, there's not a chance, but I mean, how the hockey business works. Phone call goes off at 11 p.m. and I look to my wife and go, here we go. And sure enough, you get that phone call. But after the dust settled, couldn't be happier. Boston's been great. So, we've strung together some wins and hope we can keep it going.
Not just that. Was it important to get that first goal out of the way though, with the empty netter?
Well, yeah, and then Marshy's going and grabbing the puck, it's my first time, over the ice and stuff like that. I mean, but it's all in all, a goal is a goal. It's good to be out there contributing. It's honestly a great locker room. I hated playing against the Bruins before. I mean, they're always, up in your kitchen, they're grilling. They're such a good team. So be on the other side of it for once. It's been pretty fun.
Not only that, you hit a post the other night. You've obviously got to be happy with just going right in and playing in this Bruins lineup. Did you expect to play right away based off? I thought you missed like 6 games with an injury. Yeah,
and that's, people kind of look at all, what was it and whatnot, but yeah, nagging stuff. This season's been hectic. You look at the schedule, look at all the games that have been played. My ice time in Buffalo started going up and my body just couldn't handle in that moment. So I had to take time to kind of right the ship in that regard. But coming to Boston, I think for myself, just trying to prove that, I wasn't just a throw-in. Boston, they targeted me. They wanted me. I think, former Senator Chris Kelly had something to do with that. He's on the development side with Boston. And I think he was in the GM's ear a little bit about that, which is pretty cool. But no, I've been happy with my play as of late. And to get a chance here, be in that playoff push, it's fun. So I'm looking forward to just continuing to grow my role.
Yeah. And Lazar, I was going to touch on that. So now that you're there in Boston, you're rolling in as a role player on that fourth line and you're getting PK time. I guess, from my experience playing, and I know you can attest to this, when you get into the NHL, it's all about longevity, right? And I think you have to find a role or a niche and figure out what that role is so you can establish yourself. Is your role now, is that it? You're a defensive guy, plays with a lot of energy, and you're kind of figuring things out there on the PK as well?
Absolutely. And I take a lot of pride in that. And I think that was kind of, it was the big story with how, I played in Ottawa. I was this young kid who put up big numbers, a first round pick. Everyone's expecting me to just, light things up offensively, whereas I found a way to stay afloat and to thrive and, kind of that bottom six, that role playing role that you said. And I take a lot of pride in it. It's fun, it's gritty. It's not always the prettiest of jobs or the easiest, but that's something that I pride myself in, right? Just kind of being that glue guy, good in the room and who leaves it all on the ice. So I've fully, kind of adjusted to that.
Yeah. And Boston, they needed that badly, just from reading articles and with some of the media personnel were saying they were desperate for some energy there on that fourth line. So was that the conversation that you had with your coaches when you got there? Did they kind of give you an idea of where you stood as far as moving forward with them?
Yeah. We got about 4 guys just kind of can slot in that fourth line with Sean Corrali, Chris Wagner, Trent Frederick, and myself. And it's great, that inner competition that kind of, pushes guys or whatnot. But for me, like you said, that's that new jolt of energy. I'm the new guy on the block. I'm here trying to prove, my worth to this team and to help us win. And, to come out guns blazing that we have, it's been good. We're playing against, good teams every night. Our division's completely up for grabs. And I think I'm kind of showing that it's well, boy, this kid can play. I guess I'm not even a kid anymore. What am I, 7 years in? That's crazy, especially seeing.
Yeah. And you've got kids now, man. It's different. You're not the look because I still remember playing with you, and it's man, it's Lazar. It's been 5 years, but it feels like yesterday. Anyway, so where's the wife? Is she back home right now, with the kid?
Yeah. So we it's funny how that whole thing played out. So quarantine back in Canada, that's where she was to start. Didn't plan on making the trip down to Buffalo, but for me to be part of the whole birth and whatnot. She came down 35 weeks pregnant. She came to Buffalo. I was living in a 400 square foot apartment. So, we set up shop and we adjusted to that. Then next, we get that phone call and we packed up and made our way to Boston. So we're in a nice, 2-bedroom apartment in downtown Boston, which is awesome. It's such a good city. The team's been great with that adjustment, helping us with doctors and whatnot. So it's been a team effort all around.
Are you sleeping?
Hit or miss. I mean, you know how it goes. You wake up every few hours in the night and then you realize I'm like, well, the baby wants some food and I'm not the one supplying it. So there's not much more I can do. So change the diaper and back to bed.
Yeah, I can't relate. I can't relate to that. My wife did almost all of that work in Dallas when I got hurt. So that's why I asked. You're making me look bad right now. Anyway.
By the way, congratulations on the birth of your child. When was the baby born? So how many days before you were dealt?
So he was born on April 4th. So we, went home from the hospital a couple of days later. So it was about a week, just getting settled in. Team was on the road. So I was rehab skating back home and was going to join them. And sure enough, I joined, Boston. I played against Buffalo the next night. So now I'm back in Buffalo here and we got 3 games against them this week. So that just, adds to the, the year that it's been in the NHL.
Were you the first guy at the airport waiting for the plane?
Well, that's the thing, right? Too is I love my time here in Buffalo and whatnot, but and again, you got to stay in your bubble. So it was a car service, so a 6-hour car service. Baby was outstanding, didn't cry at all. But you guys make all the jokes and stuff about Buffalo, but we can even dive into that if you guys want. It's such a good team. That's just unfortunate everything. That's just how it played out, I guess.
No, I just meant for the birth of since you're with your wife and you have a baby and haven't slept, were you like, hey, first road trip, I'm out?
Well, that's, then they're like, no, we're coming with you. So today leaving, it's kind of, I'm excited to go to bed tonight knowing there'll be no distractions, but then also it's 9 days away and seeing how much the little guy, Owen, has changed in, a week already. I can't wait to see what has changed in another week.
It is crazy. One more question about Boston, and that is, all right, tell us really what Brad Marchand is like. Don't tell me he's nice. Don't say all that stuff because you're teammates now. You didn't like him when you first started playing against him.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. Every time playing against Boston, it was kind of like he'd either come up to me, tell me I should be in the minors, tell me I'm too fat or something like that. And I was really proud of myself. Part of my transformation in a kind of, being an impact player is, I lost 18 pounds this summer in this off season. So I was so excited to play Boston just to kind of be like, what are you going to say to me now, buddy? You probably weigh more than me. And sure enough, you go in the dressing room, one of the nicest guys you meet is Brad Marchand. He
isn't in fact a huge weasel like he is on the ice.
He's one of the best guys you'll ever meet. It's pretty crazy and pretty cool, but it's funny then seeing what gets him going and how he works on his content or he thinks about who he's going to go after here and there. We haven't seen much of it because we've been focused on winning, I guess. But he's a very, very good guy.
What was Taylor Hall's reaction? The two of you ending up in Boston, and I know Boston was on his radar because they had talked before signing in Buffalo, but just his reaction of, I guess, being on the move again.
Yeah, no, he was excited. Like you said, Boston was on his list and having that no movement clause. It's pretty funny to think about. Is you got to think there's different offers on the table that he different place he didn't want to go, and if you were to go somewhere else, would that other team want me a part of the deal? Probably not, or you don't know. So him going to Boston and kind of changed my career around, but he's excited. He's rejuvenated. He's been playing some awesome hockey lately. He's fine in the back of the nets and he's really gelling with this team. And another former center, Mike Riley too. He's been outstanding for us. It's pretty cool how us three guys have just, hopped in here, haven't skipped a beat. And, we're excited to keep pushing here at the end of the year.
Has Mike Riley said anything about Ottawa at all, or any juicy insider info?
Well, we're talking a bit. So obviously, when I was in Ottawa there, I lived with Chris Phillips, and I guess he was renting with Colin White, one of Philly's places. So he was talking about how, I don't know, something broke in the house and Philly had to come over there and fix it with his tools or whatnot. So it's we've been kind of a little chit chat here and there, and obviously that's something we have in common. But he's a great guy, and he really did enjoy his time in Ottawa.
Is Philly very handy?
Well, that's, again, you don't know if he's handy or not, if he just wants to get out of the house. So, but no, I think he holds his own with the tool bag for sure.
Yeah.
Let's go to Buffalo then. I'm going to put it bluntly, and you can deny it, but it was a miserable season to watch when you're losing 15 in a row and the head coach is fired, and it just seemed like nothing worked. How miserable was that for the players that are inside that bubble?
Well, that's the tough part is our group of guys was probably the best group of guys I've ever been a part of, and things could have been so much worse, but we stuck together and kind of got to the point, you lose a game or we'd somehow find a way to lose that. It was baffling, and you couldn't help but almost chuckle at it. But our work ethic never wavered. Sure, you can say there's moments that it was poor performance or a little embarrassing, but look where the team is now. Don Grenow's done a great job turning it around. They're winning a lot of games lately, and it's cool to see. They got a bunch of young guys kind of grabbing the bull by the horns and just running with it. And so their future is promising. But again, being part of that 18-game skid, it's I guess it's hard to say what it really was, because you can't really make it up. You go through COVID, you go through this, that, and everything. It just seemed to work against us in every way.
So Lazar, just on that note, so once you get into the teens, like you're 10 losses and 10, 11, 12, 13, were guys slamming sticks in the rooms after games? Like how are players handling that? Was anybody losing their minds at that point, or was it still just kind of happy-go-lucky, let's just go play?
Yeah, and it's that fine line, right? Because you want to turn and you demand better of your teammates, but also we didn't really have anyone in that spot that could do it, because we all had to kind of look at ourselves in the mirror the first chance. But once we made the coaching change, and again, that was sad too. Ralph Kruger's an outstanding man. He did a lot for my career, just kind of bringing it back to life. And losing him and Steve Smith, it was a tough blow. We took it personally, and that's when our GM came in, and like you said, there were sticks smashed and guys pouting and stuff like that. Our GM says, "What good does that do?" He goes, "Might as well put in the effort on the ice." And we kept on fighting, and as soon as finally got one, and we won that game against Philly, it was almost felt like we were going to pop the champagne in the room and everything. But it was well deserved, and again, you're just sick and tired of seeing yourselves was made a fun of with, social media and technology nowadays with all these memes or whatever.
Brutal.
Yeah. Well, so go back to that Philly game where you're up 3-0 in the third. Like, you guys must be going, oh, finally, this is over. And then to see it and lose it in overtime has got to be crushing.
Yeah. And that's, people always remember what went wrong. Like, what did you guys say in between the rooms? Well, everything that we said, it was meant to be, it was in the right frame of mind. Then on the ice, the lucky bounce, or it's a play here and it's play there. And it just seemed that every single breakdown we had ended up in the back of our net. Whereas, we see good teams, if the breakdown here or there, they're getting bailed out by a stick, or, the goalie making a save somehow or whatnot. And it just, everything seemed to go against us. And, but that's, like you said, you just keep working at it. And we knew at that point, there really wasn't much, to work towards other than just, helping each other, helping grow. And like you said, losing Jack was a big blow to the team, obviously, but everyone just kind of stepped up, and they are playing good hockey of late. So hopefully, I guess this week we can get them back to the losing column, I guess.
You mentioned Jack Eichel. What's going on with Jack? Do you got any inside info for us with him by any chance, Lazar? Or are you going to give us another generic answer?
This interview brought to you by Mike Wallace. And
what are they allowed to say? It's
no, yeah, and I just mean, like, has he alluded to anything as far as how he feels about his situation there? Or is he seeming really unhappy? What's he saying?
That's the thing with Jack, and I almost think about it the same with Eric in Ottawa. There's these generational talents that sometimes get frustrated because they see the game completely differently. And it's not that everyone's giving up on them. We're trying our hardest. We just don't see the plays that they do. And
I can relate to that.
Yeah, exactly. But Jack's a little banged up. I think they came out and said it was a herniated disc or something. And I don't even know. It's just kind of.
It was in his neck, wasn't it? Like a neck issue? Yeah.
So that happened in Long Island one game. And then you kind of knew he wanted to fight through it. That's the type of guy he is. He's such a motivated player. And, he wants to win so badly. But like I said, I mean, I haven't talked to him in a while, just, since the trade, but I'm wishing nothing but the best for his health and whatever his future has in store. Cause I mean, I know there's a lot of question marks about that, but he's been great for, the Sabres in the city of Buffalo. So we'll see what happens.
What did you think of signing in Buffalo? I mean, I'm going to say it was a bit of a struggle, if you will, with Calgary going on waivers. I can't imagine that's a lot of fun. You go on waivers again, but did you think like Buffalo was the spot where you could maybe get your career jump started, if you will?
Yeah, that whole thing. I mean, obviously, like you guys saw how my career unfolded in Ottawa. Like, it wasn't pretty. I couldn't get any leverage. Coach wanted to see more. I wanted to get more type thing, and it just, it wasn't playing out. And go to Calgary, and I started getting a little momentum, get it going, and again, another coaching change came in, and I really didn't feel like I got the opportunity that I deserved. But then I wanted to look long term and just kind of say, well, I needed a chance just to kind of rediscover who I am as a player, find that passion again. And like you said, the waivers was something that, okay, you kind of see it coming, the writing was on the wall. But I sat down with Brad Treliving then and said, keep me down there until I'm ready. And I said, when that's the time is to bring me up, I want to be up here for good. And I spent the majority of the season down there in Stockton, California, and I had so much fun with that group of guys. And I was playing some really good hockey too. I'm playing 20 to 25 minutes a night and just kind of kept going. And I knew that throughout that season that I was ready for the next step. I also kind of thought that Calgary wasn't going to be the place for it. So there was a contract on the table. I just thought it was the best to kind of just cut ties there and move on. So they left me, I guess, whatever the word is, as an RFA, that they let me kind of walk. And the message they said is, well, the grass isn't always greener. Well, from that moment on, my phone wouldn't stop ringing with teams offering me, contracts. And that was a pretty cool moment, knowing that all I've heard about is how teams don't want me or I'm not good enough I have all these other teams now that want me a part of their team and growing. And I really did circle Buffalo as a team on the rise. Ralph Kruger was a big part of that, talking to him throughout the whole process. And I just thought, let's see what happens. They didn't guarantee me anything. They just gave me an opportunity. And again, I spent some time in Rochester as well. Did I think I deserved to do that out training camp? Probably not. I probably should have made the team, but I found my way there around beginning of December, and I didn't look back.
So let's start at the beginning of your career. So you make the jump to Ottawa or to the NHL. People are expecting you have a really good start. I think you'd probably be happy with your rookie year. So, and I know you get mono, but do you think maybe you should have started in the AHL to begin your career? Like, do you think maybe you were rushed into the NHL, I guess is the question.
Yeah, and I honestly think I was, but in saying that, if anyone else is put in that position, you have a chance to play in the NHL. Yeah, you're taking it. The paycheck's a lot bigger. And I was, I'm versatile enough where I can change my game, right? Where, a lot of these skill guys, it's either you're in the top six or you're not playing at all. Whereas I can kind of plug away and play, any position on any line. And I wanted to, get a feel for the game, I guess, at the NHL level. And it just kind of got a little stagnant. And the tough part for me was knowing that how good I could play. I think, the whole run we had there in Ottawa when I was playing with Pajot and Condra, some of the best hockey of my career. And that was in my first year when I was 19. Like I always look back on that and say, I'm like, okay, think about that moment and what I could do. And but in saying that, I definitely needed some seasoning in the AHL.
Poor Pajot, two guys on his wings that can't score.
Holy, we'll see. I was going head to head against them the other night against the Islanders, and I think I got the better of them. So we'll keep going.
Did you guys have a quick chat on the ice?
Yeah, every time I play against Pager, it's a little high and whatnot, and the face-off battles we have are a lot of fun because we've taken them against each other for so many years in practice, and so it's the complete mind game. But you guys know the player and the guy he's having fun and he's leaving it all on the ice, and I'm giving it right back to him. So I always look forward to going head to head against him.
Aside from Philly, who do you keep in touch with most from Ottawa or anybody?
Oof, that's hard. Well, who's even on the team anymore?
No one.
Good point.
I was talking to Mike Riley about that. You kind of think about it, like you got Nick Paul was probably one of the guys, and Ryan Dzingel during his first stint. That's really about it. I mean, Chabot was kind of on his way up and in, but that's about it. But no, I mean, like you said, the Phillips family is kind of the ones that I keep in touch with the most.
That brings me to the point when he had his jersey retired. It was against Calgary. You were on the bench and you got to sit and watch. And I remember you being the only guy that sat and watched that. And and again, I don't know if I can't remember if that's common for other teams to sit out and come out and watch. I think it is. I was shocked that maybe more players didn't come out, but just goes to show, I think, what type of person you are and what Chris Phillips obviously means to you as a person.
Yeah, of course. And yeah, that ceremony was, I was with Buffalo at the time, but I remember that. And I was so excited. You know, I met with him the night before, and that whole day, you know, just the chance that I got to be there to witness it was pretty cool, just with the past and how much of a mentor he was for me. And like I kind of said, the guys, I gave him the option. I said, you guys can come if you want, or you don't have to, but I'm going to be out there. I didn't care what, you know, our coach or anything was going to say to me, because that's was the most important thing. I mean, there's some things that are bigger than the game, and what he, you know, Philly and this entire family meant to me as a, you know, as a young man kind of growing up, and what he taught me, it meant a lot. So yeah, I wasn't going to miss that for anything.
Will you guys ever do Christmas cards together again?
We'll see. Again, I wanted to get him to come out to my wedding this past year, but then, you know, COVID kind of messed that all up. So we'll see. I mean, it's funny that we always talk about, you know, his kids, like they were so small when I was living there. Now I look and Ben's towering over me and whatnot. So that transformation has been pretty crazy. And I guess it shows that time really is flying by.
It is flying by. Okay. So if that's the case, we should probably go back and revisit 2015, because it was such a real memorable moment in that run you had with the hamburger. I just think for a sec, Lazar, we probably should really take a bite and chew down on this and think about the way that series unfolded.
It was a lot of fun.
What were you thinking the night you picked up the hamburger off the ice? Because it became something you've been known for throughout your career. As Matt is likely to choke down on this burger. It became almost a staple of what you were known for a while.
Yeah. Again, I mean, I was a young kid that was just having fun. Just played a hard fought game and I was hungry. So why not? And I remember I was sitting on the bench, and that's that misconception of like, oh, it was a burger that was like on the ice. Well, no, it wasn't. It was in a wrapper and it hit me on the bench. But I remember eating like 3/4 of it, and actually came to the room and Meth, you probably don't remember this. And you looked at me. The look on your face was, you were shocked, but also disgusted. And you
like, I remember. I was just going to say that. Yeah.
It was just,
I just remember looking over at Lazar and thinking like, first of all, I've never seen that before playing hockey in my entire career. And you got Curtis Lazar eating a friggin' cheeseburger that was thrown at him from the stands, but people loved it. Like, can you remember all the messages and people, like the airtime that you got from that? It was insane.
Yeah. Well, it's funny actually too, because after this trade to Boston I think people nobody knew who I was. I mean, it's the Taylor Hall trade. So, you know, they hop on the internet and search my name. The amount of photos that have popped up.
The cheeseburger guy.
Yeah. So I got people in Boston kind of reaching out and kind of want to get it going back, that every time I score, there's a burger on the ice. But I hope it doesn't get to that point, because I think it was something that I had fun with then, and we'll leave it back in the past.
Well, if you guys make a good push here, and you get in there and make some noise, you can count on well, I guess, do you guys have fans in the stands yet in Boston?
Yeah,
they do.
100 of them or something.
Okay, well, yeah, I'm sure someone will throw a cheeseburger at you. If you guys are playing, it'll happen.
Yeah, that's when we know the life has come full circle.
Okay, so go through this run. Obviously, you had no idea at February when this thing started, but you played, I think, a key role down the stretch. Really, you had 7 points in the last, I'm going to be off, maybe 14 games, including assists in the final 2 games, which clinched the playoff spot. Yeah. In the middle of that run, do you know there's something special, or do you still not know because you're not in a playoff spot at the time?
It's hard to say, because I mean, going through a streak in the opposite way, it's kind of like, it's almost the same thing. It's like disbelief. And you're like, okay, like let's see what Hammy's got for us again. Oh, there's another one. And they're like, no, there's not a chance he's got this one in him. And it just kept on going and going. But it was every night someone, you know, was kind of rose to the occasion. And it was like, you know, Mark Stone's coming out party. And then you realize, I mean, Andrew Hammond finished the year with like 20 wins and he played I don't even know how many games. And you're like, we really did it. And that was just remarkable. And that's, I don't think people understand how hard it is to do, because, you know, it's an everyday league, and, you know, every team has a chance to win coming against you, but he stood tall for us. And like I said, being a part of it is you just kind of try to keep it small picture, but looking back, it's definitely something that's, you know, I'm always going to value and think back and reflect on.
When did you guys know that you were going to be in a playoff spot? Not till the last game, or did you think earlier than that?
Well, yeah. What did it come down to? Like, did we have to win our last game? That was against Philly, right?
Yeah.
And I think it was like the third period or so. I don't know if we're up one or down one or what it was, but I remember Mark Stone stripped someone, surprise,
Yep.
and just put the puck in the net, and then, you know, did his big celebration. And I think that was the moment when he said, we got this. Was
there any throughout that, any speeches made from anybody as you guys come down the wire here? Like that win in New York just before it was a huge win, just to even give you the chance to be in Philadelphia, if you will.
Yeah. And again, like we're talking, what are we, 6 years ago now? Like,
yeah. I want you to remember it like it was yesterday. Okay.
I can't remember anything. Like you're asking Lazar these questions and you think that I'd be able to chime in. And I'm thinking like, I don't even remember the Philly game. I don't remember anything about it. I don't remember any speeches. I think the best way to describe it was like a blur, and we never expected to win that next game. And we just kept getting wins, and we kept getting these insane performances from a couple different players every other night. And that's how we did it. I think that's what made it so special, right? Like we had not just Hamburglar, but we had a lot of guys contributing.
You know, what's one thing I remember though, was after that game in Philly is we had burgers on the plane ride home. I'll never forget that.
That's true. That's right.
See, that's selective, but it's great.
Yeah.
This is one of the few flights I was on. Going into the Philadelphia game, if I'm not mistaken, you guys can correct me. You guys took the train from New York. Do you remember going down underneath MSG to take that train? No.
I remember doing that once, but I don't know if it was that then or.
I thought that was the one, because you go like 6 floors down of MSG into this train. Anyway, I guess it's not that one.
Oh, I think you're right. I've got like a vague memory of taking.
It took like 20 minutes to make this.
Yeah, it took forever to get down there.
It's like a whole world of city down there.
Yeah, it's crazy. I can't actually. Lazar, do you even remember that, or probably not?
Well, no, I remember going down because, like you said, it's so cool. This iconic rink, but I didn't know it was that moment. Like you can think about it, kind of a do or die game coming up, and we just hop on a train as opposed to just doing a normal routine. It's pretty crazy, but no, I do remember that.
It was great. I remember that train ride was the best, but that whole undercity of MSG is phenomenal to me. I kept looking for rats, obviously, but there was just this bizarre walk. I just remember we're just all following Brian Murray and Jordan, like, yeah, they'll figure it out.
Yeah, no, it was pretty cool.
What, the final game, then you guys are in the room celebrating. And Methot, you and I actually haven't even discussed the 2015 run. What's the atmosphere like now that you guys know you've clinched a playoff spot?
I think it's the hard part with that is it's such like a build up, and then you almost like exhale. You're like, we did it.
Yeah.
But then you realize the work's just starting, and then we go to Montreal, and what happened with the whole? It was the Stone and Subban. Wasn't there a slashing incident or something? Like that?
His wrist or his hand or something, right?
They called it the microfracture. Yeah.
Yeah, that's right.
Someone had a picture from the hospital. Some hospital staff member took a picture of him being in the hospital. I remember that.
Was that the same season? God, this is how bad my memory is. Was that the same round where Grimes laid out
player 61, Rafael Diaz?
Yeah. Right?
No, that was a little before my time.
Yeah, I think it was a different series, but now that you bring it up, I can't remember. You need to do some homework.
I'm not very smart.
Anyway, Lazar, tell me about the Montreal series, because Meth doesn't remember either.
Nothing.
Well, yeah, from a player standpoint, like, your first taste of playoffs in the Neil Bell Center, it's pretty crazy. I want to say maybe game 1, I think we lost 2-1, something like that. But we're just right there, and again, it's that adversity because we're so used to winning that it kind of put us back on our heels, I'd say. But we had a good run. I remember being back home. I think Dale Weiss had a game where he had like 2 goals or something against us too with the OT winner. And we just ran out of gas, and you can't really blame us, I guess, when your goalie just kind of carries you the entire way when you're just leaving it all on the ice for over a month plus. It was pretty crazy because I do remember that whole run. It was a game and a day off. Like, we didn't practice that entire time, which was pretty crazy.
I remember that.
Yeah.
Well, Andrew Hammond has talked about, like, he knew coming down the stretch he was exhausted, and then he tried to make a go out of it in the playoffs. Did you guys feel bad for him? Like, did anybody know that he was, I guess, exhausted down the stretch? Did he say much?
I mean, what are you gonna say? Like, hey, just take this one off. I mean, he kept going, because I remember like always looking at him. There's one game, and it was the Winnipeg. You say, like, it's hard to remember this streak, but we had a back-to-back, and the second half of that was in Winnipeg. And I remember looking at him in his stall, and he was there dumping packets of Pedialyte to his drink just to like stand up, and he was making an acrobatic save after save. But no, I mean, I think as a player, you just try and make his job as easy as possible, try and get him some run support or, blocking a shot here or there. But no, I mean, he stood tall from start to finish, and I just wish we could do more with it.
It was a great run. Like, it was one of the true, obviously, things that I'm not sure we're ever going to see that kind of run again, but maybe. But I can't imagine what it's like to be in it for all of you, and the emotion of living and dying on almost every night, a win or a loss.
Yeah, it's the emotional roller coaster. And like they say, you got to keep an even keel, or, celebrate it for 5 minutes and move on. But it was pretty hard to do. But just kind of having that day in between the games, I guess, when we had the chance to clear our minds, was very important.
Who kept the room light? Was that Zach Smith's job?
Mark Methot.
Wasn't my job.
Is he? Okay, wait a second. Is he not the crankiest person you've ever met?
Probably, or up there.
No, Meth was great. I mean, he just says it how it is.
Well, yeah, but see, Lazar was a forward, right? So he wasn't like sitting right by me most of the time when I'm bitching and complaining about having to practice. So he had a different vantage point, I think. And Lazar's probably the most positive guy. This is a huge compliment. Lazar's probably got one of the best attitudes I've ever seen in an NHL player. He's always positive. Somebody could take a shit in his breakfast and he'd still have a smile when he goes to the rink afterwards. It was insane, and a good thing, right? Like, and Lazar, I know I'm putting you on the spot. You're not probably going to want to say anything, but that's a huge thing that I always remembered with Curtis Lazar, was always positive. He never had a bad day.
Yeah, I appreciate that, because like I said, the adversity that I faced in my career, I feel like that was the only way that I've stayed afloat, because if I wasn't mentally strong enough or appreciated this league and this game, I wouldn't be around. I'd probably be running my own podcast trying to get former teammates on it.
Oh,
anybody can do that, Curtis.
Touché.
You're much smarter than that.
Oh, I love it.
Then when you got mono in that, I guess, did you get it before training camp, or you dealt with it just after? I know it set your career back, at least at the beginning of that season. Was it tough then to get Guy Boucher to, I guess, come back around to giving you more ice time? Take us through that particular stretch.
Yeah. Again, that was mid-August, literally the worst time you could possibly get it. And I remember as soon as I heard the news, and like my mom had taken me to the hospital because it hit me so hard. And it's like that whole week I was still working out, I was still skating, but I was just sweating profusely. And like, I didn't know what was up. And usually, it's a cold, I'll sweat it out, but it just wouldn't stop. And I got to the point where my body just started shutting down. So then, you go to Ottawa. I fought hard to come back. And the big things with, your spleen has to be a certain size. It swells up when you have mono, but, you have to get it back to normal before you can cleared for contact and whatnot. So remember last preseason game, I got cleared and I pushed to play that game obviously they weren't going to let me play, but I just wanted to be there full well knowing I was going to go to Binghamton. But no, I tried to fight my way back, try to get adjusted to the American League for the first time, which was a bit of an eye opener trying to figure that league out. But when I finally figured out, got back, like you said, it's just, I don't know what our differences were. His system probably wasn't the best for me. I was thinking a lot on the ice as opposed to just going out there and playing. But you didn't really see a fit for me in the lineup. I couldn't understand what he wanted to see more out of while trying to be, disciplined within his system. And that's going to happen. I got nothing against him personally or whatnot. So he's trying to win. The NHL's business of winning. It's just, how it is.
Sure.
Yeah. And in fairness, with Guy Boucher's system, especially if you're a young guy and you're forward, because I remember the meetings, there were times where if I was like, I would sit there and say to myself, man, if I was a forward right now, I'd be lost. So I can only imagine what it would have been like if you were like, for me, Dion, Boro, we were on the left side on that lefty lock. It was really easy for us and I loved it. But I can imagine being a forward, how difficult that was, just because there were so many moving parts, right? And you had all these different assignments. Do you remember any of that?
Yeah, well, the one thing for me is he literally told me, if you're more than a stick length away from the puck on the forecheck, pull back. And for a guy that's games built over, turning over pucks, finishing my hits and just skating overall, that was so hard to kind of embrace, I guess. I mean, I did the best job I could, but then, you're out there for 4 to 6 minutes a night. And it's like, well, what are you supposed to do? You're crushing caffeine, then you're trying to stay composed. You're trying to be in the right spots and just so many moving parts. But I mean, that's the way he wanted to do things. And I mean, I did the best job I could.
Yeah. And people don't understand or appreciate how hard it is to get into a game when you're only playing 5, 6 or 7 minutes, right? Like you're just sitting there and you're almost thinking, don't even put me out there at this point. Like, I just want to sit right here on the bench because your mind is just out of it, right? Like when I was playing on D and if I was playing below 15 minutes, I didn't even want to go out there. I'm just thinking like, just roll the guys that are going.
Yeah, no, I'm the same way with you. You want to be out there, make a difference, but then you understand, well, what you going to benefit from being out there, the last 5 minutes of the third and 1-goal game when you haven't seen the ice since, the beginning of the second period. So
bingo.
It's tough, but again, it comes with the territory. I think a lot of times I had to, tell myself that, there's X amount of players that are allowed to play in the NHL and earn those jobs. I'm never going to take that for granted, but that definitely is something that I don't think, the average person realizes how tough it is.
And that's fair. And I don't really mean to go after Guy. I'm just like curious. Did you have many one-on-one conversations about what you didn't understand or what you needed to try and work on to get better? Or was it more a general forward meeting type group setting where you got told what to do?
Yeah. I mean, it's hard, right? Because, you're a young kid, he's a new coach, you're trying to find your way, but then also you don't want to make it about yourself because, the team's what matters. And he had so much going on. His pregame preparation was, insane, where he'd have like, 4 to 6 whiteboards filled up with notes and, different plays and whatnot. And that's just how he got ready. And there I am, kind of tugging on his jacket to have a conversation. That's kind of the last thing that I think we both wanted to have. But but there's times that we would talk. But like I said, I guess the onus is on me as a player, regardless if you are playing 4 minutes or 20 minutes, that, you have to make the most of what you get. And fortunately for myself, that wasn't much at times, but again, I did the best I could. And I truly did enjoy my time in Ottawa. It was a great city and a great place to start my career.
Yeah. And I was just going to say, just to finish up, because on Guy, I think people need to understand he does have a brilliant mind when it comes to the game. He's incredibly detailed. It just can be difficult sometimes for certain players, certainly if you're a younger guy with all those assignments. But I think I don't want this to turn into a dump on Guy Boucher party here, because just from my personal experiences, I did enjoy playing for him, Wally. So I just wanted to throw that out.
And lots did. And that's not what I'm getting at, but he just had some idiosyncrasies that made it tough for certain players to adapt. And even I can remember the locker room became a really weird, if I'm not mistaken. No, I know he put all the players, all the forwards in lines grouping, if I'm not mistaken, to sit in the locker room, right? Is that not?
Because I was in the corner by myself.
I just want to go give Lazar a hug right now. He's doing well now, so it doesn't matter. He's all good.
Yeah, it's turned around for him quite well. Okay, so who did you sit beside, other than being in the corner? Who were your next door neighbors?
I don't even know. Actually thinking of, speaking of neighbors, one of my neighbors is back in Kelowna, or it used to be. I moved away. I got to get some spaces. Patrick Weirkosh.
No way. Patty.
Just up the road for me. Patty W.
Are you Lazar, are you in Kelowna right now? Full time, that's your home base?
Yeah, that's where we summer. So a great bunch of NHL guys. And, good spot.
You're born in Salmon Arm though, right?
Yeah, that's correct.
Yeah, my sister-in-law lives there, says it's incredible. Incredible. You never wanted to go back?
well, Salmon Arms, like it's 2 hours away. I mean, it's small. So you got the lake, the Shuswap, it's more so like houseboating, whereas Kelowna, that's like the big city. So, we got their trainers, all the resources to train. You got the golf courses. The lake there is more so used for, the wake surfing and whatnot. Just, I guess, more to do. But,
fair enough.
I guess, my wife and I, we bought a place more tucked away in the mountain there where we get our privacy when the lake still, it's only 5 to 10 minutes away. So it's a good spot.
Do you skate a lot in the summer with those guys? I hear it's full of high-end, obviously NHL players. I'm curious what the skates are like when you guys start to ramp up before you head to training camps.
Yeah, they're awesome. I like to skate, quite a bit. I'd say, I guess, kind of mid June, I'll hop on with like a skills coach, more one-on-one based. But then
that's so early.
Meth, most players do this, okay?
The new game.
Good for you, though. Good for you.
Yeah, and then we kind of transition into like, I guess, our pro skates. I guess, I don't know what's early for you, Matt. Mid-July,
September,
July, like first or second week of July usually is when I would start, and that was to me early at the time. And actually, as we got going, and the crowd got older in Ottawa toward the end of my career with the Senators, our summer skates didn't even start till August. So, but I mean, it's all relative to where you are, I suppose.
Yeah, and I think we were probably around there first or second week in July. But I mean, the surplus of defensemen we had. I mean, even like this past year, it's kind of a weird off season. But there was like, there's 2 forwards. There's Jake Furtanen and myself, and then we had like 12 defensemen. So it was great for me. I mean, doing drills and we start getting battle compete going. But once we have a full group out there, I mean, we'd almost have an entire team. And Todd McClellan's got a place out there. He'd come and run us through some NHL practices and stuff. So it's definitely a perk of living in the Okanagan.
That's pretty cool. Who's your roommate on the road when you were in the NHL as a rookie?
I have Cody Ceci, I'd say, was the one from Ottawa. Calgary was a bit Rasmus Anderson, Matthew Tkachuk a couple times, I want to say. That's I guess Cease was the biggest one. So I mean, with him in this division too, it's been fun playing. And he actually buried me last time we played him. They texted me after the game, was, "Man, I'm so sorry, I didn't know it was you." And I'm like, "You don't have to apologize. Like, play me hard. I'm okay."
That actually sounds like Caesar. He's just such a nice guy. You and Caesar are just super nice guys who are apologizing for every little play out there.
Yeah, pretty much. I'm like, well, that's what it was. I go, "No, man, that's on me for putting myself in a bad spot."
That must have been the quietest room in the hotel. You two are notoriously two quiet individuals, you and Cody.
Yeah, honestly, it was pretty quiet. I hated having the TV remote too. I just didn't like having that pressure of putting on something I wanted to watch, so that my roommate would be like, "Who is this guy?" or "Why are we watching it?" So I just throw him the remote. He'd put something on TV, and then we just kind of, sit there, chuckle the odd time, and then just stare at our phones. That's pretty much it.
Did you guys have like a rule
on TV?
I was going to say, do you have a rule with the remote as far as bedtime goes? Because I've had roommates where they'll leave the TV on until like midnight because they had to fall asleep to it. And it just drove me absolutely nuts. Like, to me, the TV just has to be turned off when one of us goes to bed. If you want to stay up, you go on your iPad.
Yeah. That's so true. One of the most awkward things is going to bed, because
it's the worst.
You're sitting there and I'm like, I want to go to bed, but I look over and my buddy's watching the show.
Yeah.
I just can't turn it off. Or
people don't understand, like, you're roommating with another adult. Like, it's not a normal thing, right? Like, another stranger adult 4 feet away from you. And it's like, what's the protocol here? You know what I mean? Yeah. And if you have to go to the bathroom, like, some guys leave the door open, some guys shut it, some guys talk to you while they're in there. It's just bizarre.
Oh, I feel like the worst was, though, you're looking at your clock and you're like, man, it's getting late, and like,
yes,
there, and then you look over and buddy's just passed out.
The TV's on.
Yeah, you're like, come on, like, help me out. But no, I mean, we're pretty good at that, and you get in a routine with everything. I mean, we kind of knew our time where we'd shut it down, and that was it. But no, it's always fun to get to know one another. And I mean, this year, I guess there's no roommates at all, so the young guys are enjoying having their own rooms.
Awesome.
So, Matt, which guy would talk to you in the bathroom?
Well, the worst roommate I ever had was Nikita Filatov. So I still remember we were in Nashville, and they had, like, it was the old hotel there in Nashville where the rooms were kind of split. He had like a living room and then like a door, like French doors into the main room with the 2 beds. So he decided he didn't want to hang out because the kid didn't sleep. I don't get it. He was nocturnal. So I'd be laying in bed and I woke up to like a disturbance, and it was someone knocking on our door delivering room service. And he got a Pepsi and like some pizza, or it was like junk food. And we were playing the next night, and he's on FaceTime or Skype. It was FaceTime, I think, at the time. And he's talking to some other person in Russian, like screaming, and it's 2 a.m. So I get out of bed and I'm screaming. I'm like, what are you doing? Shut it off. And he's like, what? And he's kind of looking at me like surprised. And I'm thinking like, am I in the Twilight Zone? This kid thinks it's normal. And he's hammering a Pepsi, FaceTiming some other Russian dude at 2:30 a.m. It was insane. So that I think created a little PTSD with me. And from then on, I went to the team in Columbus and I'm like, I'm going to pay for my own room. I was a rookie or in my like 3rd year, I think. And I just started paying for my own room. And that was the end of it.
Really?
Yeah.
They allowed you to, they didn't have a problem with that? They didn't have a problem?
No, they said if you pay, the team was willing to pay for half of it. And if you wanted your own room as a rookie, as long as you paid for half the room, they'd give it to you. So
wow. Was Filatov in Ottawa when you were there?
Okay. No, he was a rookie in Columbus. Anyway, veered off big time. I apologize.
This is fantastic.
Yeah.
Do you have any horror roommate stories, Lazar?
Not that I know of. Not that I can remember. Actually, you know what? I do. One of this was World Juniors, my first year. So we were over in Malmo, Sweden. I was rooming with Kirby Reichel. Played with him in Stockton too. Great kid, but he's tightly wound. Like, he's very, he's an intense guy. And I remember going to bed, and in the middle of the night, I just hear this screaming, and he's getting mad, and he's I'm come get you. And there's some some swear words in there.
Yeah.
And, I'm reaching up and I'm looking over, like, is someone in the room, and he's having a full on like conversation with like, oh, you think you're tough? Yeah, you want? You're kind of like, what's it? And then,
oh man.
And the next morning, you're kind of like, like, you say something, does he know like this condition or what? But I mean, it's kind of like, man, you had to talk. He goes, oh yeah, I do that sometimes.
It just shrugs it off.
Yeah. But other than that,
that's awesome.
I think another, big elephant in the room is then snoring. If you get a guy that snores, I think
worst.
And it just kind of is what it is. So you try and fall asleep first or whatnot. But I think I've been pretty lucky in that regard.
I was a snorer. So we were in a development camp, and a buddy of mine who happened to be my roommate as well, his name is Trevor Hendricks. I know I was snoring. I was honking away bad because at one point it's like 3 a.m. and I wake up and my face is like numb, like it hurts. And I'm like, what just happened? He took a pillow and hit me as hard as he could in the face with the pillow during development camp. And I think he did it a couple times. And the one time I caught him and he smoked me square in the nose. And that might be why my nose is crooked now. Trevor Hendricks, and he'll appreciate this. I'm sure I'll hear from him after he sees this. Hit me as hard as he could in the face with a pillow. That's my story.
Did it lead to a fight?
No, because he was a tough guy. So there's nothing I could do about it. I'm like, Hendo, do you mind not hitting me in the face with a pillow? It feels like I've been hit in the face with like an anvil. You know what I mean? So anyway, I can agree with Lazar when you're with a snorer, because even me being a snorer, when I was with snorers like Alex Burrows at the Worlds, it's the worst. So yeah, there's nothing you can do about it.
Yeah.
It's okay, Lazar. Mess now had plastic surgery on his nose, so it's all good.
Oh yeah, I saw the photos. I heard all about it. Now he's all active on Twitter. You don't miss a beat.
Yeah, I know.
He's an internet sensation.
Okay, let's keep this about Lazar because we're holding him back right now.
You always want to ruin the. Fine. We always ask all our guests, unless I forget, is what is your favorite cheat snack? So when you're sitting down watching Netflix. We'll ask you about Netflix in a second, what you like to watch. What is it you're grabbing to eat?
Oh, I'm a big M&M guy. Peanut M&Ms are probably my go-to. And again, like I said, I kind of reinvented my body this summer, so it was kind of hard to cut out some of that stuff. But once you play in this year and you finish it back to back, whatever, there's nothing better than a nice bag of M&Ms.
Lazar, are you keto? Are you keto now or anything like that? Like, what have you changed? I'm just curious.
Not much, just kind of the way I trained. And I think just portion control is kind of, you eat and think when you get ready to play a game, you just eat as much pasta as you can. Whereas now I understand that, your body only needs X amount of fats or carbs or protein, and then away you go. So it's made a world.
How hard is that when you go into the pregame, like what people don't see, like as fans, when you go into that pregame meal room on the road and there's like a big pail of Alfredo sauce and meat sauce and all the different pastas. So now you just kind of just grab a little bit of that, add some veggie and meat.
Yeah. And that's, I can't stand pasta. Like, you have it once a week would be fine, but I mean, you know how it is, the ins and outs, but you know what they're doing this year? I mean, you would hate it is we can't serve ourselves.
Right.
What?
Because you're telling Buddy through a glass.
It's got a plexiglass.
Yeah, because we can't.
Oh, to me, that doesn't make any. I'm not going to get into it. I don't want to get verbally assaulted on Twitter here, so we'll leave it at that.
I want my penne with the Alfredo sauce. If they put too much, I could just see you giving the guy an earful.
You're probably right. I'd be frustrated because I was so anal about that stuff. But anyway.
And what do you watch? Like, are you a binge watcher kind of guy?
Yeah. I mean, yes and no. Kind of depends on the shows. The show that I finished, which was outstanding, was Yellowstone.
I'm in season 3 right now. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm with you. Another show, Ted Lasso. I don't know. I don't hear much about it, but it's great. So yeah, I mean, I'm kind of hit and miss with everything.
It is like Ted Lasso is an interesting show to me. I can't decide if it's a serious show or it's a complete buffoonery.
It's a bit of both. I think that's the best part. It's pretty like legit, and then they make a mockery of it or whatnot. But
yeah,
it's I really enjoyed that show, and that's same with Yellowstone. I feel like both of those series you don't hear much about. Like their exposure wasn't well heard of, and then you watch it and it slowly grows and builds. But I mean, Yellowstone, start to finish, outstanding show.
Well, and you're starting to hear a lot of it now. I think just because I think season 4 is soon to be released, if I'm not mistaken, and it's starting to it's like Breaking Bad. The first couple of years you didn't hear about it until then it started to explode, and then everybody started watching it. I don't want to keep you much longer. So, the excitement level you have in the Bruins, can you feel the different winning culture if they have there? Like Boston, obviously, has been every year a perennial favorite, if you will. Do you sense that as soon as you walk in the room?
Absolutely. And I even, told Taylor Hall that we hopped on our first, on ice session as a pregame skate. There's just this aura of like a professionalism that, it's the standards is expected, between each and everyone. Everyone's, equal. There's no, hierarchy when it comes to players. We're all treated the same, but it's just, you leave it all on the ice, and that team camaraderie is pretty cool. And simple things like, within that first day, the leadership group of Krejci, Marchand, and Bergeron call me in a room. They go through the team rules, what's expected, this and that, any questions that I have. So, there's no gray area. It's, you're all in. Everything's, about the team, and you get that feeling. And now that we've strung a few wins together, it's, we feel pretty dangerous. We got that confidence going too, and I'm very happy to be here.
Is that intimidating to go in and see Bergeron, Krejci, and Marchand there?
It is, because I'm like, what do they have to say? Like, what do they want me to do or what? But then, I mean, you get to know them on a personal level. Like I've been here, a week.
Yeah.
And they're still just, everyone's the nicest person you could meet. And you understand why this team's had success, not just, 1 year here and there, but it's continuous because they're working over everything. The coaching staff's been great. They're very hands-on, and there's a standard set. And that's what I really appreciate is, there's no passengers at all. They're not going to let that fly.
Is there one rule that caught you off guard? Give us the Boston Bruins rules.
There's honestly nothing. It's, business casual on the plane, look professional, and it's just stuff like that. And mainly, treat people with respect. This year's big thing with the masks, make sure you're not abusing that, keep your masks on, and just go from there. So it's been pretty cool. And being a sports city like Boston, I mean, it's every team they have here, they've won, and they have a history of winning. So you got to keep it going.
Last question I have for both of you, because I actually haven't asked Meth this either. I remember interviewing your parents, Lazar, in Ottawa. I'm pretty sure it's your first game. And I'm curious of what it's like for both of you to have your family in that moment with you sharing that first game?
It's pretty cool. Like I said, my first game was in Nashville, and thinking back now, what a cool rink to play that game in. But that first game, it's almost a reflection of all the hard work, all the sacrifices that they've put forth to allow, us to be successful. My family's still a huge impact on my life, obviously. And this year's been tough for them not being able to, come visit me, especially with, being grandparents now. Yeah. But I owe the world to them. And like I said, I don't take a single day for granted in this league, because I know how quickly we can be taken away. But I owe my parents and my family a lot for helping me to get to this point, because if they weren't as level-headed and respectful and supportive as they were, then there's not a chance that I would have had the opportunity to live out my dream.
Matt, did you get your parents at their first game? I don't know, because of travel.
Yeah, it was weird because I was lucky because I was playing in Syracuse in the American League at the time. And I got called into the coach's office after a game that just so happened to have my parents there in town watching. And then they told me I was getting called up. We all got in a plane. We actually got on different planes, on different flights. I went alone, and my girlfriend at the time went with my parents on a later flight to Columbus and came out, and everything else that Lazar touched on. I mean, he said it perfectly. I mean, I think for me, you don't really pay much attention to it when you're in the moment on the ice. You're so focused, you're so hyper-focused on the game, but you get to reflect on it a little bit afterwards and realize what your parents were able to witness and go through. And they were treated like gold in Columbus too. So it was a really cool experience.
Lazar, we don't want to take any more of your time. We appreciate you stopping by. You certainly look a whole lot older when you got to Ottawa, but the smile is still the same. It's nice to see you continuing to have that big smile across your face, my friend.
Thanks for having me, guys. Great to chat.
Good luck, Lazar.
Okay, welcome back to the show. Please be joined now by Brandt Clarke and Mason McTavish of Team Canada. Currently, they're about to embark on the medal round of the under-18s. There are also two highly touted prospects in this upcoming draft. Gentlemen, welcome to the show. Happy to have you both on board. I guess, how are things down in Texas?
Thank you. Thanks for having me. Texas is good. Obviously, we can't go really anywhere, but weather's nice, so it's been good.
Yeah, Brandt, I was going to say you can't get anywhere. So what's it like being kind of stuck in a hotel, if you will?
Yeah, pretty much. It's kind of hotel rink and just the roads in between, because we don't. Yeah, like May said, we don't really go anywhere. So it's not really the touring experience that I'll tell my kids about one day, but. It's still been a pretty fun tournament. We have a great group of guys, and we're looking forward to these big games coming up.
Are Mason, you guys even able to go ahead? Sorry, Wally, go ahead.
I was just going to ask you about the parking lot. I think is about as far as you can go. What happened? Do you have to book the parking lot?
Who's going there, Brandt? You do want to take it?
Oh, you go, because I don't really know if we booked the parking lot or not.
Yeah, we have to. Okay, so yeah, we have to. We gotta book the parking lot, and then we could book it for an hour, and then then that's it. We gotta go back up or something. So
what do you guys even do it there then? You just play soccer or two-touch and stuff?
Yeah, or just walk around in circles.
Yeah, just for fresh air. Sometimes spike ball, but just a lot of walking.
Yeah. Get some fresh air. Okay, fair enough.
Yeah,
that's good. Speaking of the tournament, obviously it's been a very good start for you guys. I guess, what's it like to bring this team together so quickly and with so much talent on it? You guys are both highly respected and highly touted, but is there any nerves from anybody when you look at all the firepower that you guys have assembled here?
Yeah, no, there's, we obviously got a great team. Canada always, normally has a pretty solid roster. I think coach really did a good job kind of, bringing guys together, team builders and stuff, especially in these short tournaments, everybody's got to get together tight. So I think we've done a good job with that.
Brandt, Mason has scored 5 goals here in the first 4 games, but he never celebrates. Is there a reason why he just seems to, it's like he scored the 50th goal of the game. He just doesn't do anything.
Just been there before, I guess. It gets boring after a while for him, I suppose. Like when I score, I enjoy the moment. I try to make it last as long as possible. For Mace, he knows next shift I'll probably get another one. So no need to spend too much time right now. That's what I think.
I think it's because I sell you too much in practice. So in a game, I don't even I'd rather silly in practice. I don't know.
That's funny you bring that up, because I was talking to somebody who knows you very well and said at the end of each drill, when the drill's supposed to be over, you always were shooting pucks. Always would be one more shot. Is that fair?
Yeah, I don't know. I just always love to kind of just shoot pucks, or like even like doing a drill, like scoring competition or something like that, just to, try and kind of helps you bear down and kind of more game like. So I don't know. I guess I just like to shoot it. I guess I don't know.
You guys are both from the Ottawa area. You're Mason from Carp, if you will, and Brandt, you played it in Nepean. Did you guys play a lot against each other?
Yeah, I'd say we played a bunch when we were younger. Like especially when AAA started, there was only 5 teams, so you'd get used to who's on the other teams, and so we played Mason like 8 times a year. So he would light us up, and but we would pull out a couple wins too. So yeah, I'd say we played against each other, and we were pretty familiar with each other after a while.
Okay, Brent, I'm going to bring up one game that you played against Mason, who probably doesn't want me to bring this up, and that is, of course, the OHL game, or the Bantam Cup, the under 15, if you will. You scored the overtime winner for the Don Mills Flyers. Do you bring that up at all when you're talking to Mason?
Oh yeah. I've brought it up a couple of times. He had 2 goals that game too. It was a pretty high intensity game. And then Shaner, who's actually on, of course you guys know Shaner's on our team right now. He fed me in the slot. I got absolutely robbed. I had all the time in the world. I got absolutely robbed. The puck kind of just rims around the wall. I'm like, okay, I got to go for a line change. I just kind of throw one at the net from the wall, and that one ends up going in. So it was kind of a weird situation. But yeah, I still remind Mason every now and then that we got the upper hand that night.
Does it sting, Mason?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, they have the super team there in the GTHL. So, I mean, I thought the boys in Ottawa did pretty well for ourselves, honestly. But yeah, it was a fun game to play for sure.
You both went to Europe this year to play. One thing, actually, Mason, you don't know this, is I interviewed your dad when he played at St. X, and I was working in Halifax. So this feels completely old for me today, but I will try to get through it. And that is, he went obviously over to Switzerland. You went there this spring to get in some games. How important for both of you, and I'll start with Mason, about just going to Europe just to try to play because there was no OHL season?
Yeah, it sucked. The OHL kind of got pushed back a couple times, and then obviously kind of got canceled and stuff. But going over to Switzerland, it was great. I really enjoyed my time over there. As you said, I was born there, and I spent lots of my childhood over there. So it was awesome going back over there. Every time I go back there, I love it and stuff. So I got to see my aunt too. She's still over there. So it was a good time for me.
It's awesome.
Mason, I wanted to add, hold on, how are you living? Because you guys are young. Are you on your own there? Like, are you set up with a family?
So me and Brennan Hoffman lived together with the team president. So it was they really good care of us and stuff. So it was
Nice.
Which is completely opposite at the end for Brandt, who went to Slovakia with his brother Graham, who's a pick of the New Jersey Devils. Then Graham has to leave, so 17-year-old Brandt is in Slovakia trying to buy milk, which ends up being perhaps yogurt. As Matthew, you and I both know, we've been to Slovakian grocery stores, the different labeling. Can you tell me what it's like to be on your own at 17 trying to cook?
Yeah, that obviously wasn't the original plan. I don't know if my parents would have followed through with it if they knew I was going to be by myself for like 2 months. But when Graham got that opportunity to join Binghamton, he just kind of jumped at it. It was a good opportunity for him. So I kind of just I was there, and I never really cooked or much when I was a kid or did my laundry or anything like that. So yeah, it was kind of a big growing up experience for me almost, because like I was just kind of thrown in the deep end right away. It's like, oh, bye, you're on your own now. So, but it was still good though. We still had a couple other Canadian guys who lived in my apartment building like with me. So, they would drive me to and from the rink. So there was no problem there. But losing Graham for those 2 months, especially at the start, it took a bit of time getting used to, but I feel like I definitely grew a lot off the ice in that experience.
Brandt, what were you cooking? Like, what were you making yourself? I'm just trying to picture you as 17-year-old in some foreign country cooking dinner.
A lot of pasta, because that's pretty straightforward. I cooked a couple steaks. The smoke alarm went off a couple times, but it was a fun experience. I definitely a lot, but yeah, it was a lot of pasta, some ground beef, because all I'd have to do is push that around the pan. So it's pretty straightforward, but nothing too complicated. I'm not saying I'm any Gordon Ramsay or anything like that, but it was that just serviceable, I guess.
Nice.
Is it true that Graham left you instructions of how to work the stove?
Yes, he did. Yeah, it was pretty funny too, because it was an electrical stove as well. So you'd think that one's even more straightforward, but I had chicken like the first night he left, and the smoke alarm went off because I had it on like full blast for like 20 minutes. So yeah, stuff like that. That's definitely like something I'll tell. I can have stories about, which is pretty funny.
It's so awesome. So, and Brent, were you concerned with no hockey about how it was going to affect your draft status? I mean, this is a huge year for both of you guys, and to not have, when your buddies are playing in the WHL and the Quebec League and the NCAA, like everybody else is playing but you, is there real concern of how it's going to affect your draft?
Yeah, I'd say there was. Me and Mason we're competitive guys. We want to go as high as we possibly can. We want to play hockey. That's what we're first and foremost. We want to be on the ice. We want to show what we developed over the summer. So yeah, not being able to get that opportunity was pretty discouraging. So we obviously going to Slovakia for me wasn't option A. I wouldn't have told you at the start of the season, dang, I hope I can go to Slovakia this year instead of playing the OHL. So that wasn't the first option. There's also places like Sweden, Finland that I was supposed to go to that kind of fell through. So it was I was trying to look for as long as possible, but then I got a good spot in Slovakia, and he got a good spot in Switzerland with Brennan. So I think it worked out for the both of us. And we didn't get to do our playoffs, which is unfortunate. We had to come back to this tournament, but now that we're together and with these guys and we're playing crucial roles on a great team, it's a good feeling right now, and we're both feeling pretty good about ourselves and pretty good about how we stack up with the draft class.
And you guys have, I mean, there's been so much talk, and I don't know how much you pay attention back home when you're in it, and there's so much going on around you, but there's been so much talk back here about how well both of you have played. And Mason, you got to wear the C for a couple of games. Would you have seen that coming, pardon the pun, of being that type of leader maybe a couple of years ago even?
No, I mean, you never really think about, you dream about it, but you never think, maybe, I'll be the captain, especially with Shaner, him going down is obviously a tough blow, but, he's our captain. I was just kind of filling in the role for a couple of games, but yeah, every time, you can, wear the jersey, you just, let alone any letter, but just the jersey, putting that Canada jersey on is no better feeling. And then if you get, if you're, a leader on the leadership group, kind of, it's a huge honor. So you just try and, kind of play your best.
I've never watched Shane Wright play live, or even Connor Bedard. There's so much being talked about, obviously, these two guys. Can you, tell us what Shane Wright and even Connor Bedard are like as players?
Yeah. Well, I know Bedsy's my roommate. So he's just, he's a little kid. I don't know. He's 15, so he's a sick player though. He can shoot the puck. Same with Shaner. They're pretty similar. Obviously Shaner's a year older, but yeah, no, they're both really sick players, and off the ice they're even better. So they're great to have.
And Brandt, you played with Shane, so I guess how close are you two, and what's this experience like to go through with guys that you've known for so long?
Yeah, me and Shane are like best friends. We talk about everything. So he's you see him on the ice, you see the stuff he does. It's pretty remarkable. He just how he just thinks plays like 10 seconds before everyone else does. He just knows where everyone on the ice is going to be. He knows where to jump into the holes. He knows all that kind of stuff. But yeah, like Mason's saying, like the stuff you don't see in the dressing room, like he's always the first ready to go. He's always hyping the boys up. Like he is a leader. Like he's driven to win all the time. It uplifts you almost. It's like, dang, if he's doing all this and he's the most skilled player on the ice, like I gotta get my energy up. So just the stuff like that, it shows that he's gonna be a pretty stellar player for a pretty long time. Just also having that skill, but also the right attitude day in and day out.
Mason, has Connor asked about, I don't know, teaching him how to grow a beard?
No, not yet. I'm sure it'll come in soon for him, but yeah, I don't know. He's pretty impressed with it anyway.
We all are. Like, I don't even know if I could grow a beard like that.
Yeah, I don't know. It's been going for, I don't know. I don't want to give myself up here, but it's been going for a pretty long time. So yeah, say that.
That's awesome. Awesome.
have you two discussed the draft coming up? Like, is there any bit of ribbing between the two of one of you hoping to go higher than the other?
No, I don't. We don't really talk too much about draft anyway. Yeah, there's no competitiveness. Obviously, just personally, you want to go as high as you can. If you go ahead of someone, cool. It doesn't really matter. But it's there's no talk really about that.
I was gonna say that you two have played together in spring for God, I think it's like 5, 6, 7 years or something to that effect. Like you two know each other very well, and I'm going to assume of what it's like to be such good friends to play on an international event like this.
Yeah, it's special, to be here with Mason. Like we know each other for, like you said, like 7, 8 years. So it is really cool. It's not often that like the people you grow up with are also the people that you'll be with, like through past your high school years, which is pretty much what we are now. So yeah, it's cool. Having familiar faces around, being surrounded, like for me, like being surrounded by other like talented hockey players. If I'm practicing with Mason every day, there's other Ottawa guys that we practice with too that are also were good friends of ours that were stellar when they were young, are still stellar now. So it's always pushes you to go at the rink and be like, these guys are also my friends, but you know what? If I don't want my friend to outshine me here, I don't want him to feel like I'm a loose thread here. So I got to bust my ass. I want to be. We all try to push each other more and more. So that just gets us better. And at the end of the day,
why do you wear 55?
There's no reason. I don't think. I just thought it looked good when I was younger. I used to wear 15, and I didn't think that looked good. But I only wore that when there was single digits. So then I just went to 55, and I don't know. There's no specific reason. I used to say because of Sergei Gonchar, but that wasn't.
Well, that's what I thought. But then I'm like, no, you're an Erik Karlsson guy.
Yeah, I am a Karlsson guy. No, there's no actual reason. I just kind of liked it, I guess.
Okay, so here's a question we ask everybody that comes on the show, except if I forget, which happens occasionally, is do you guys have a favorite cheat snack? So if you're sitting around watching a movie and you can put the kale chips down for a minute, what is it that you grab to eat? Mason?
I don't know. I enjoy like a chocolate bar every once in a while. It's always, pretty tasty. Try not to eat them, obviously, but they're pretty good. So I'd go with I'd say O. Henry bar actually.
Oh, nice.
For me, we don't have too much candy around, but my mom is she's big into like Twizzlers, like licorice kind of, and if that's in the cabinet, I'm every time I walk by, it seems like I'm just grabbing one. It's like, it's small, it's skinny, so it's not gonna hurt. And then it happens over and over. So, but it's funny. That's probably what I usually go with.
Very nice.
Who's the most competitive guy on the team? Who hates to lose at anything?
I'd say Shaner probably. He's, as Brandt kind of said there, he's super competitive, driven to win. So yeah, I'd say Shaner.
Okay. Before we let you go, so go ahead, Brent.
Oh yeah, sorry. I was just meant like everyone's got a good attitude. We're all here to win. So there's no like, obviously. Yeah,
I just didn't know like if you guys play cards or if you're ping pong or anything. If there's some guy that just can't handle losing.
Well, Mason, I'd say Mason's up there. Like when he's.
Oh, no wonder you're so quick to answer.
I got that feeling too.
Maybe
yeah.
Stillman with cards. He doesn't want to lose, but yeah. I mean. I don't like losing either. I don't think anybody does, but yeah.
It's true. I hate it. Last question I have for both of you, and that is, you're both from Ottawa. Ottawa is going to have a high pick. Would you like to be able, and I know you don't want to upset anybody else, would you like to be able to suit up for your hometown team? Brent, you were on the ice. You played an intermission with the at Canadian Tire Center. So I know that you have a Sens jersey at home. Would you guys like to play for your hometown team?
Yeah, it'd be cool to be an Ottawa Senator. I'd personally, I had season tickets when I was younger. Me and my family would go all the time. We would look up to all these stars, and to be one of those guys that these other young Ottawa kids look up to, yeah, that'd be awesome. Okay. So if I do end up being an Ottawa Senator, that'd be a dream come true.
Yes, same for me. I mean, anywhere you get picked, it's a huge honor. Sure. Ottawa, you got lots of family there, obviously, so it'd be super cool to go to Ottawa, and yeah. No, just honestly, as I said, just going anywhere would be a dream come true, like Brandt said there.
Yeah, Methot's always talked about being able to play for his hometown team when he got traded from Columbus to Ottawa. All right, guys, we appreciate your time. I know you guys are busy and you're about to embark on now trying to capture a gold medal for the first time since Connor McDavid was on the team. So good luck to both you down there and to the entire team. We appreciate the time.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks, boys. Good luck.
Thank you.
All right, welcome back to the show, Meth. Two great kids. I hope, have huge success coming up in the NHL, especially with the draft. One thing I forgot to ask, and maybe you can allude to this, and that is they're playing in front of 150 people in this building, but about, 60 of them are NHL scouts. How distracting is it to watch a bunch of guys in black jackets all in the corner writing stuff down?
Yeah, it's not, I wouldn't say distracting. It's more motivating, I think. I mean, from my experiences playing, I still remember even in major bantam at the time when we knew the OHL scouts were in the stands. And obviously the same applies to the OHL with the NHL scouts. You're hyper aware of it just because everything's magnified. But for me, I always fed off of it. And maybe that's not the right approach. I don't know. But I knew that when the scouts were watching, my game elevated because I just wanted to show what I could do out there. And I'm sure these kids are the cream of the crop of all their groupings and leagues that they're coming out of. This is attention that they're used to. So I don't know that it affects them the same way that it affected me personally, but it just seems, just based off the interview we had with them, that they've got very good heads on their shoulders. They're incredibly confident. So I'm sure it's probably not, I wouldn't say it's a distraction for them. It's probably, if anything, just extra motivation.
I wonder what it's like to have that kind of talent. Anyway, I'm totally jealous of them.
Me
all right,
too.
let's now bring in Craig and we'll get right to trivial trivia. Craig, welcome. Yeah. As always, good to see you.
Speaking of talent, that's what I was there. That was great. Another solid show. Curtis coming through. Two young guys, man. I love these. So yeah, nice work again today, boys. What do we do? Trivia? You guys want to get right into that? Or
let's do it.
I know that Wally's meat thing kind of took over a little bit in headlines there. Yes, that's been a fun one to watch everyone point out how wrong he is, besides one guy. So that's good.
It's not even true. It's just fake news by you guys. Everybody cooks their meat well done. It's just the way it is. Listen, you don't cook your bacon with a little bit of fat on it.
Let's not start unveiling the next thing that everyone's going to rip on you for.
Yeah, you do.
No.
All right,
that's whatever. The problem is we're going to be peeling the onion of like Brent's weird food things for a while. I think.
This used to be cooking with meth. We should just stick to the meth part. I'm not, I'm not saying another thing again.
No. Yeah. Anyways, well, we can stick to trivia for now because we got a Mika Zibanejad bobblehead to give away from our last show. So if we rewind back to that interview, we asked what was Mika Zibanejad's favorite Broadway show. His answer, of course, The Book of Mormon. I haven't seen it. It looks great. I'd love to go see it. I don't know when that's going to happen. I'm going to have to hit him up for tickets, I imagine. Another person that may want to see it is our winner, at Nick Lowson. So Nick, keep an eye on those DMs. We're going to slide in there and figure out how to get you that Mika Zibanejad bobblehead.
Perfect. Oh, what's next? We got a new one coming.
Yeah, today. Yeah, for sure. Well, this is from our good friends at GONGSHOW.com. We got another Gong Show sauce-off kit to give away, and we're going to base this one off of our Curtis Lazar interview. So the Gong Show sauce-off kit is super dope. It's ultimate backyard hockey game, $250 retail value. This game is perfect for the cottage, road trips, tailgates, or playing in the driveway. It's built for a little bit of social distancing. So as well, another sweet prize from Gong Show. Yep. So a huge thank to them. And our question is, how much weight did Curtis Lazar drop in the off season? I love this question because a lot of us were putting on weight during the last year. But
speak for yourself.
Yeah, dude, I'm back up again. So send us your answer on Twitter using the hashtag Wally and Methot and tag at Gong Show Gear on Twitter. Contest closes on Wednesday, May 5th at noon Eastern, and we're going to reveal the winner of the Gong Show sauce-off kit on Thursday's show.
And Craig, I probably shouldn't have chirped you because I don't even know if my suits still fit me. So, well, I'm nowhere near 10,000 steps. I know that. So anyway, you look great. I'm trying to adjust the camera. So anyway, if you like our show, please like it and subscribe on YouTube. And of course, you can find us across all the major podcast platforms. We appreciate the comments. We make sure Math reads them all, and so keep them coming. Thank you to Curtis Lazar, Mason McTavish, and Brandt Clarke for joining us on the show. We will see you on Thursday, everybody. See you guys.